Information shared on the following program is for general information purposes only. It does not constitute legal, tax, investment, or other advice, nor is it intended to recommend any particular investments, products, or financial instruments. Always seek advice from your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant with regard to investment, legal, or tax questions.
Forget about the crowds, the size of the school, their fancy uniforms, and remember what got you here. Focus on the fundamentals that we've gone over time and time again. And most important, don't get caught up thinking about winning or losing this game. If you put your effort and concentration into playing to your potential to be the best that you can be, I don't care what the scoreboard says at the end of the game, in my book, we're going to be winners. Okay? All right. Let's go.
Think an inspiring pep talk from a high school basketball coach is cool? Just wait till you see what we do with our clients at halftime and taking them into the second half of retirement.
Welcome to the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money, the Worry-Free Retirement, with your host, nationally recognized retirement specialist and six-time author and fiduciary, Tony Walker.
One of my favorite sports flicks of all time is the movie Hoosiers. Starring Gene Hackman as Coach Norman Dale, Hoosiers is based on the true story of the 1954 Indiana high school champ Milan High School, who overcame all odds to beat a superior opponent to win the state tournament. One scene that stands out in the movie is when the boys of Milan are down at halftime and Coach Dale inspires them to get their heads up and reminds them of how they can win the second half, a scene that oftentimes resembles meetings I host with savers who are at halftime in their own lives and looking for a game plan that will carry them to victory in the second half of retirement, which is why today I'm going to explain exactly what halftime is and how you can better prepare yourself for the second half of retirement as well. So let's sound the buzzer and get started. Well, welcome, folks, to the Worry-Free Retirement. And yes, I am that little man in the sweater vest, retirement planning specialist and fiduciary, Tony Walker. And before we show you how to enjoy more of your money during halftime by creating a written financial game plan, let me introduce a key player in the Worry-Free Production Studio this morning on this May 16th, 2023, America's favorite financial sidekick, Mr. Aaron Orander. Good morning, Aaron.
I was kind of hoping you might give me like a basketball intro, standing at 6'2". Well, never mind. I don't want to say my weight. So, okay. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Doing good. Yeah, thanks for reminding me you're 6'2". And I used to list myself in the program. I played some high school basketball at 5'11". Guess what? I was never 5'11" in my life. I wish I was 6'2". I don't know. Would have been any better or not? Or, of course, some people.
I think it helped me definitely when I was playing.
That's actually 6'2" is pretty darn tall. I wish I was 6'2". But some people, I was pretty fast back then. Some people laugh and say, well, maybe if you were taller, you wouldn't have been as fast. You never know, right?
Yeah.
I mean, possibly. I don't know. But by the way, the movie Hoosiers, you and I were talking about that before we went on the air here. I really do. As far as a sports movie, I don't know what it is about that movie. I love that movie. You've seen it, haven't you?
Yeah. It's been a while since I've seen it, but yeah, it's a good movie.
Well, do you have I know my favorite scene is when he's getting ready to get tossed out. Do you remember they're at the courthouse and they're getting ready to vote Coach Dale off because he's real hard-nosed? And the one kid that's the real good shooter that doesn't go out for the team shows up at the courthouse and goes, if you throw him off, I'm not joining.
Yeah, Chitwood or whatever his name. Yeah, whatever his name was. Yeah, like he hadn't played for a while, and then he came back, and they were like, oh, yes. And he's like, I'm not playing unless Dale's the coach.
I play, Coach stays. He goes, I go.
That's right. There you go. I thought that was cool. You have a favorite scene of that movie?
Oh, I mean, I like the locker room speech. I tell you a funny part I think is when he gets thrown out of the game kind of on purpose. He intentionally gets thrown out and he looks at I can't remember his assistant's name. It's one of the kids' dads or whatever. Yeah, he was an alcoholic or something like that, and he was purposely trying to get thrown out of the game to kind of put the pressure on him. And he's like, well, you're up or whatever,
But I think the movie's inspiring, and it's going to tie into the show today, folks. Again, this is a retirement planning show in case you're just now joining us and thinking, wait a minute, I'm watching listening to a basketball show here. So, basically, here's what I see a lot of times, Aaron. People coming to me, I call this period of time we're going to talk about today halftime. They're 59, 60, 62, 65-ish, and they really are just wanting to make sure they're prepared for full-blown retirement, and most of them, admittedly, are not. So when they come to me, a lot of times, I always will ask them, what brings you in today? A lot of them might say, well, I've heard you on radio, I've seen the TV show, a friend referred me to you. But Tony, I keep hearing you talk about this thought of having a written game plan. And inevitably, Aaron, when I kind of kid with them and say, well, do you have one? Can I see your written game plan? What do you think the answer is?
They either say no or they say sure, and they hand you a bunch of paperwork that's just, oh, yeah, here's a statement from 18 years ago that has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Very good. Yeah, I think people get confused. They think a 401k is a game plan. It's not.
Right.
Or the statement or brokerage statements or even an annuity. I bought an annuity and I got a game plan. No, you don't. If you don't have a written game plan, just like game plans have to be worked out in sports to then direct the players are, of course, the products. The game plan has to come first. And even in sports, you've seen that, haven't you, where a team has great players. I'm not saying it's the coach's fault, but there is no game plan. They're just out there helter-skelter.
Right. It would be like all the teams showing up and saying, well, what's our game plan? And the coach holding the basketball being like, well, here's the product. Here we go.
Yeah, take
it's like,
the product.
That's not the game plan. We got to know how to use this thing.
So that's the biggest thing I see, folks, is when people are approaching this age we call halftime, and we'll get into details of what those ages are. What really is missing, the reason they're worried about true retirement, and the reason most people don't spend money when they can, when they really need to be enjoying it, which is really halftime, is they don't have the game plan. So it's the written game plan. I'm telling you, folks, if you've got a written game plan that will give you confidence to enjoy halftime, and then when it's time for the final buzzer to you to leave the locker room, that financial locker room called halftime, and head out into the second half to make sure you're fighting off the opponents and winning the game. Now, who are the opponents that are out there waiting for you in the second half of life? Well, there's a lot of opponents. There's taxes, that tax-infested 401k that you haven't paid taxes on. The opponent is Uncle Sam, I guess we could say. The opponent is Wall Street. As you know, folks, this show is dedicated to savers. This show is not for investors and speculators. So you got to remember, Wall Street is out there saying that you need to continue to take risk and keep all your money in the stock market. In fact, it used to be called the Rule of 100. Now they've changed it to the Rule of 120, meaning you need even more money in the stock market as you get older, which, again, if you're a saver, that should make no sense whatsoever. You need to play it more safe as you get older, and we can show you how to do that without the fear of running out of money. Another opponent out there is health. Aaron, I know you're not really with the Tony Walker side, but you're in the Louisville building here, and you see a lot of the people come in, and you've been to some of our client events. You've noticed some of our aging clients, and you can just see the deteriorating health right before your eyes, can't you?
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, I say unfortunately, but at the same time, we talk about that all the time. It's not if you're going to die, it's when you're going to die.
That's right. I've got two people coming in today as we record this show on May 16th, 2023. And both of those people, I've got about 8 appointments today, but I've got to go to Lexington today. That's the thing, folks. In the Lexington area up there, we do have offices in Lexington, Kentucky. My favorite nephew, Wes, who is a fiduciary, is happy to meet with you. And, of course, I'm up in Lexington very frequently, too, and be happy to meet with you. I'll be up there today. But anyway, in the Louisville office, before I head to Lexington, I've got 2 people coming in, and we've got to do death claim paperwork. So it does really happen, folks. You will eventually pass away. You're going to lose a spouse. I mean, there's just, your health deteriorates. And here's the biggest thing I see. If somebody said, Tony, in your more than nearly 40 years of being in this business, what's the one mistake people make? It's waiting too long to enjoy their money in halftime. So when I return, we're going to define what I call Tony's timeline to a worry-free retirement, define what is halftime, and why this written game plan we produce at Tony Walker Financial is the key to you worrying less about your money. I'm Tony Walker along with Aaron Orander. You're listening to The Worry-Free Retirement. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Wes Walker, Tony's nephew and one of the fiduciaries on staff. Wanted to take a minute to talk to you about fees and the drag they can have on your retirement accounts. So just to set the stage, the typical money manager charges about 1.5% per year on the assets that they manage for you. On $500,000, that'd be about $7,500 per year. And the question you've got to ask is this fee worth the service that they're providing? That service might just be to tell you to hang in there when the market's down, and it certainly almost never comes with a written game plan that has a team of retirement specialists behind it, making sure to see you to and through retirement. It's key when you get into this phase of life that you have a monitored game plan that can be pulled up and accessed easily by your advisor so that they can make changes or adapt it to your situation. If you'd like a free audit of your current employer-sponsored plan or IRA and want to see what the fees are like, what you're getting charged versus the service you're getting, please feel free to contact our office at 877-499-9255 or send us an email. You can email me, Wes, at TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Thanks, and have a good day.
So, Trey, as our in-house fiduciary in our Louisville office, one of the common questions we get from people in halftime, especially when they're approaching age 65, is the difference between Medicare A, Medicare B. Should they need a Medicare supplement? What if they're still working past 65? So tell the folks briefly how you address those specific questions.
Thanks, Tony. The world of Medicare is very particular to unique situations, but the way that we help can be summed up into really three situations. So first scenario being turning age 65 and still working. So in that case, you have your employer coverage. So you would have Medicare Part A, which is automatic when you turn 65. But in addition to that, you have your employer plan, which is your qualifying coverage. The second scenario is retired and starting Social Security at 65. If that's the case, you will have Medicare Part A, which is no cost, Medicare Part B, which is about $165 a month and will come out of your Social Security, but then you'll actually need a Medicare supplement or a Medicare Advantage plan. The last scenario is if you're retiring but not yet starting Social Security, you'll be billed directly for your Medicare Part B premiums, and you'll need a supplement and or an Advantage plan.
Well, Trey, that's some really good information. I understand you've cut a video for folks to watch and it has a little more depth to this whole Medicare issue. How can people watch this video?
Yeah, the video is available on our YouTube channel. So if you go to youtube.com, Tony Walker Financial, it'll be on the retirement tips, as well as TonyWalkerFinancial.com, and find that on the retirement tip videos.
Have you recently retired, been laid off, or offered a pension buyout? Has the company you work for moved, been acquired, or closed its doors forever? And finally, do you have a 401k with a previous employer you'd like to move to safer territory? Then take advantage of this opportunity to move your 401k or lump sum pension to Tony Walker Financial. Let's meet in person to discuss your retirement options. Log on now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com to schedule your free, no obligation appointment. Let us help you today.
Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement Hour. Tony in the Trenches goes something like this. This comes from Janet in Southern Indiana. Tony, my employer is experiencing some downsizing and having our 401k rep come and talk to us about our options for the 401k in case we have to leave work. But I don't want to keep my 401k with the current advisor. If I get laid off, can I move that 401k over to you? The unequivocal answer, what do you think it is, Aaron?
Absolutely not. No, we're not in the business of that. We don't do that. No. Of course the answer is yes, we can do that.
Yes, thank you, Aaron. Of course we can do that, Janet. And here's what would be the process. So if that's you out there, maybe you've retired recently, you're laid off, we're getting ready to talk about this magical age of 59 and a half. All you have to do is go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. You can do one of two things. First, you can arrange what we call a free fiduciary phone call, 10-minute call with me to explain to me what's going on in your life, make sure there's something we can help you with. If we can definitely help you, we're going to ask you to download our starter kit. This is a free starter kit, or we'll be happy to mail you one. And then when we meet at either our Bowling Green, Louisville, or Lexington, Kentucky offices, we can set up that game plan and take that 401k, roll it over to safer territory, put it in our proprietary split IRA concept. That's, as Shannon Ross likes to say,
humdinger.
And then that allows you to have maximum use, maximum flexibility, and maximum control over that 401k when you put it with an individual IRA with Tony Walker Financial. So be happy to help you. If you're riding down the road and don't have access to the internet right now, just give us a call. You can call us anytime. We have a 24-hour answering service. Just tell them you want to talk to me, Tony Walker. It's 877-499-9255. It's 877-499-WALK. All right. Speaking of that 401k representative showing up at work or trying to convince you to roll over your 401k to an IRA with a huge financial institution that's usually leads you down a 1-800 number path to who knows where when you call these folks, there's other issues that come up. It's not just rolling the 401k over. It's dealing with what I call that darn tax tumor that has infested your 401k and that's going to have to be dealt with by a trained retirement specialist. So what I decided to do here is I created something called Tony's Timeline to a Worry-Free Retirement. And the purpose of the timeline is to kind of help explain what goes on in life, some key points, and more importantly, this concept of halftime. That's the period of time where I've learned over the years in working in this retirement field so long, where those are the ages where most people can thoroughly really enjoy their money before it's too late. So, Aaron, as you think about a timeline, what are some, now don't go up to 59 and a half because I get to talk from there on, but as you think of your timeline in life, what are some key points that you'd say, these were big moments in my life? What would they be? A couple of things.
I mean, just off the top of my head, when I got married, when my first child was born, probably when my parents got divorced. I was about 9 or 10 when my parents got divorced.
So you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
First house? Remember when you bought your first house?
Yeah, I remember when I bought my first house.
Yeah. What are those times, as you think about it, what are you doing as you go back in the past? What does that kind of remind you of? How quickly time goes by slowly or quickly if you look back?
Just how quick time goes.
Yeah. So that's the thing with retirement planning. What Aaron's saying is, folks, you look back and maybe they're fond memories, but you go, wait a minute, dadgum, it's, Aaron's in his 40s, I'm in my 60s now. You look back and you really do go, where in the world did time go? So in retirement planning, the key ages, we call this halftime. Remember, we started off the show with Gene Hackman as the coach of this little team in Milan High School, who was patterned after. The movie was Hoosiers. In fact, let's go to one of those pep talks again.
Focus on the fundamentals that we've gone over time and time again. And most important, don't get caught up thinking about winning or losing this game. If you put your effort and concentration into playing to your potential, to be the best that you can be, I don't care what the scoreboard says at the end of the game, in my book, we're going to be winners.
So as Aaron was saying, depending on your age, let's imagine you're approaching the critical age at halftime at Tony Walker Financial in this retirement thing, 59 and a half. Now, what is the significance of age 59 and a half? Well, majority of people, now we can't say everybody's going to let you do this, but the majority of 401ks out there are governed by something called a plan document. And that plan document tells the custodian of the money of the 401k, that's who you're throwing your money at every month or every other week that you're having it deducted out of your paycheck, tells the custodian what rules they can follow. And one of those rules that they can follow, that many do, it's called a non-hardship in-service withdrawal. It's a fancy way of saying if you're still working and you've now reached the age of 59 and a half, you can still contribute new money to the 401k, but you can actually roll some or all of that money out of the 401k. Again, you can still contribute to it and get your match to someone like Tony Walker Financial. Now, why would you want to do that? Because of what we're just talking about. During halftime, which is between the ages of 59 and a half, that's when the government allows you to do this, all the way to age 73 for most people. Why do I pick 73? That's the minimum distribution age. That's when you were required by law, age 73 now, they just changed it, to start taking money out and paying taxes on that 401k. So what I've found over the years, the ages between 59 and a half and your RMD age, which is now 73, are the most critical and most flexible time that you can use and enjoy this money. And guess what, Aaron? You think most people are taking money out lock, stock, and barrel, or are they saving it, continually saving and saving it? What are they doing?
They're probably, well, I don't know. They're probably trying to save and save because that's what they've been embedded to think.
That's exactly right. So Wall Street has convinced them, oh, you don't want to spend this money. What if you need it? Which, okay, on the surface that's true, but that's not what I see. The majority of people I meet with as they get into what I call the second half of life, they leave the financial locker room of good health and enjoying their money, and all of a sudden they get past age 73. Well, there's all kinds of things that could happen that have changed the course of the game. Maybe they took too much risk and they went through a huge stock market decline. They've lost a spouse. They've got poor health. There's just a number of things we see all the time that can erupt the game plan in the second half. So here's the point, folks. If you don't have a game plan right now, if you're between the ages of 59 and a half and 73, if you don't have an advisor who is encouraging you to use and enjoy this money and also showing you how to make sure you don't run out of it, my question is, why not talk to us? It's real easy to do. We call it the free 10-minute fiduciary phone call. And all you got to do is log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, click on that Let's Get Started button, or we've got a little red icon if you just want to set up that phone call with me, the owner of the company, to talk about your situation. Or, of course, just call us at 877-499-9255. Okay, when we come back, an interesting comment on our Live Well, Die Broke moment, and also a little bit more on this idea of how do we go about rolling over a 401k at Tony Walker Financial and finding out if you're even eligible to roll over your 401k when you're still working. I'm Tony Walker along with Aaron Orender. You're listening to The Worry-Free Retirement. We'll be right back.
Tony, I've been in this situation where I left an employer and I had a 401k kind of hanging out there. And then other people who retire and they don't really know what to do with their 401k. What is the benefit of rolling that money over to Tony Walker Financial?
That's a good question. First of all, a 401k is a savings plan, but it's not a plan. It's not really anything that's managed. You have to pick your own investments. And what I've found, Diane, is when people leave an employer, even if they're 40 or 45 years of age, it's always advantageous to put that with an independent financial advisor. Number one, we can get certain products that usually the 401k does not offer. The second advantage of that is now we can devise a plan. You have a local retirement firm that's actually watching over it. You're not dialing a 1-800 number or getting online and looking at something that looks like a financial sushi menu. So this allows us to manage the money, properly position it, and also as someone gets a little older, we had a person in the office today, now they're getting ready to retire. And it's interesting, we moved that money over from a former 401k 10 years ago. We already kind of have the plan, and they are so comfortable retiring and now moving the balance of their new 401k over to us.
That's interesting. What if I'm still working for an employer? Can I move that 401k to you, or do I have to quit?
Yeah, that's really a good point. So if someone is over the age of 59 and a half, this is a government age, I don't know where they came up with this, but basically, and let's say you're still working, but you say, Tony, I want my 401k with you. I want a plan around this, but I still want to contribute to my 401k. Can I do that? Surprisingly, usually you can. So let's take an example. Someone's 60 years of age. They're still working. They're funding a 401k. They could roll over their current 401k to us, no charge, no taxes, we'll manage it, and then still contribute to their 401k. So it's a win-win for everyone.
For additional information and scheduling your free, no-obligation appointment, go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement, and our Live Well, Die Broke moment comes to us from a couple client of ours out of Lexington, Kentucky, Phil and Darlene. And actually, you see this photo, Aaron, they've sent this from Aruba.
I've been to Aruba.
Have you been to Aruba?
Yeah.
Oh, my oldest son's been. I've never been to Aruba. Pretty cool. Complete with that lizard. Check out that lizard there.
Hey, I know that guy. He owes me money. No, I'm just kidding.
We went to Costa Rica years ago, and the iguanas.
Oh, they're everywhere.
And they are big.
Yeah.
And I think down there it's kind of like the Humane Society here. People try to keep the iguanas and they get too big and then they just kind of let them go. And they have like, I think there really is. They try to, I think it's a problem. It's kind of like Florida now with the snakes, those big old snakes.
Yeah, snakes and gators, they get them for pets and they get too big.
Maybe another reason I'm a little hesitant to buy a second residence in Florida with all the pythons or whatever they are down there. But anyway, okay, you might be sitting there if you're just now joining us. We've got a Live Well, Die Broke. We've got Phil and Darlene who are in Aruba. And I love what they said. They said, Tony, basically they're saying, Tony, just wanted to send you a picture of Aruba now that we're retired. We are now officially enjoying our
mailbox money.
That's right, folks. Mailbox money is something we at Tony Walker Financial are known for. It's a trademark term I use. It describes the ability to have guaranteed lifetime income from an annuity. That's the only thing that will provide mailbox money. From an annuity so that you won't run out of money. In fact, I've written a little booklet on this. If you'd like to download it at our website at TonyWalkerFinancial.com. It's called Mailbox Money Made Easy. Download that. We'd be happy to meet with you and talk about how to convert that 401k of yours into some mailbox money for life, just like Phil and Darlene. Okay, in our time remaining, let me explain to you, if you're sitting there, if you're just now joining us, we're talking about halftime, the ages between 59 and a half and 73. We can roll over a 401k at any time, but let's imagine you're just hit 59 and a half, or you're 62, but you're still working. And you're thinking, Tony, I didn't know I could still contribute to my 401k and possibly roll it out to somebody like you all to manage now so I can get this game plan you're talking about. How do we go about finding out if I'm eligible? Well, actually, Aaron, it's called an eligibility rollover call. Have you heard us talk about that? Lisa Potter's in charge of this.
Yes.
Okay. So what happens is I had a person yesterday came in, and Lisa Potter in our Bowling Green office is going to call them. It's called an eligibility rollover call. So what happens is Lisa Potter, let's say you're with Mutual Nairobi. Let's say that's who's handling your 401k. She's going to get you on a conference call. You can leave you can sit at home and do this. You can create your comforts at home or at work. But anyway, she's going to get Mutual Nairobi on the line if that's who handles your 401k, and she'll get you on the line and have a conference call, just a simple conference call. And literally, she can get to the bottom of things pretty quick.
She's tough as nails. She'll put up with them.
Yeah. And finally, they'll usually tell you, yeah, you can roll it over if you're 59 and a half or older, or no, you can't. Or a lot of times they'll say, yeah, you can roll it over, but only so much of this can be rolled over. So what we do then, we step into action, and generally we'll set up a Charles Schwab account. Lisa Potter will then, if you want us to do this, we'll roll that over once we have the game plan. You want to see the game plan first before you do all this. We're just kind of fast forwarding. That money is then rolled over to Charles Schwab, and then we execute and implement what we call our split IRA concept, where we'll use investments, bank products, whatever you want from Charles Schwab. That gives us the maximum liquidity and flexibility we need to enjoy our money during halftime. But then we'll also make sure we have some of that beloved
mailbox money.
And then we'll have that mailbox money on the back end so that when you get into what we call the second half of life, as we define it, that would be age 73 and beyond, the second half of life, you won't have this fear of one day running out of money. So that's you right now. If you're sitting there thinking, Tony, not only do I not have a game plan, I don't have a professional retirement planning specialist in my corner that can help me figure all this stuff out that's coming up not only in halftime, but also into the second half of life. Well, that's you right now. I would welcome the opportunity to talk to you. My name is Tony Walker. For nearly 40 years, I've literally advised thousands of savers on this notion of retirement and how best to beat your worries in it. So to get started with us, it's easy to do. Just go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. When you get there, you're going to click on that Let's Get Started button. If you'd like to arrange a free 10-minute fiduciary phone call with myself, you can do that as well by giving us a call at 877-499-9255. That's 877-499-WALK. And we would be happy to meet with you in person, if it warrants, at either our Bowling Green, Louisville, or Lexington, Kentucky offices. So do it now. Log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com or give us a call. Well, we hope you've enjoyed today's program. Next week, we will actually be talking about the second half of life and how to be better prepared for that. So whether you're already there or still in halftime, you're going to want to catch us next week. But between now and then, you remember, if all else fails, you be worry-free. Make it a good one.